Hey Raiders Nation, let's dive right into all the action as we break down what's happening with Las Vegas and take a close look at every corner of this roster heading into the season. Starting at the quarterback position, things are heating up more than anyone expected. Obviously, if Geno Smith steps onto the field, he's going to draw attention. But the real story here is the intense competition between Aiden O'Connell and Cam Miller. Aiden has had a rough go of it in preseason, and it's clear he knows he needs to pick up the pace, make quicker reads, and get the ball moving efficiently. The team wants to see him using his legs at the right moments, moving the pocket, and showing the type of versatility that can keep defenses guessing. On the other side, Cam Miller is proving he has a chance to push for that starting role if he can maintain consistency. The preseason numbers tell a story. Aiden has thrown a touchdown and 3 interceptions, completing just over 62% of his passes, and while that's far from ideal, it doesn't tell the whole story of his potential. It's a battle that has become much closer than many anticipated, and the coaching staff is clearly using every snap to evaluate exactly what this new offense with Chip Kelly can do. They're testing reactions, decision-making, and chemistry, especially in those deep passing situations, and it's fascinating to watch how each quarterback handles pressure, adjusts at the line, and responds to defensive shifts. The strategy is deliberate. Some reps for Geno might happen, but it wouldn't surprise anyone if the coaches hold him back to preserve him for the regular season. Meanwhile, Aiden and Cam are taking center stage, and for Raiders fans, every pass, every scramble, and every decision on the field is critical. It's not just about stats. It's about how they fit in the rhythm of the team, how they communicate with receivers, and how comfortable they look executing Chip Kelly's schemes. Shifting over to the running backs, this group has been incredibly intriguing this preseason. Ashton Gentry has stood out as a physical presence, someone who runs with power and isn't afraid to lower the shoulder and move defenders. He's been a workhorse in practice and has flashed the kind of toughness you love to see in a lead back. What makes him so fascinating is not just his ability to pick up yards between the tackles, but also how he handles pass protection, screens, and getting involved in different phases of the offense. Watching him line up and execute in the flat or on screens gives a clear picture of a player who can be multidimensional and reliable. Behind him, there's a real battle brewing. Players like Zamir White, Raheem Mower, Chris Collier, Dylan Lowe, and Sincere McCormick are all fighting for limited spots, and it's evident that the Raiders are still trying to determine who fits best into the final roster. Some of these guys have been inconsistent, and the preseason has highlighted both their strengths and their weaknesses. Collier has shown flashes, averaging over 5 yards per carry in his limited reps, which is promising, but whether that translates to a full season role is still unclear. Lowe has been generating buzz, but there's still question marks about his versatility in the passing game. Ultimately, the Raiders will carry 4 running backs, and the competition is brutal. It's not just about running ability. It's about pass protection, understanding blocking schemes, and making quick reads in the passing game. That's what will separate the players who make the squad from those who don't. On the receiving end, the wide receivers room is loaded with storylines. There's uncertainty around Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, especially with contract situations and injuries, so the preseason snaps could be limited for some veterans. But the young players are stepping into the spotlight. Dante Thornton Jr. is a name to watch. The team is trying to build chemistry between him and Geno Smith, and seeing him stretch the field and make contested catches will be crucial in evaluating his potential. Tommy Mallow, a 6th-round pick, is also on the radar, though his spot is far from guaranteed. There's pressure on him to perform, and it's clear that even small details, like staying focused amid distractions and managing expectations, are part of the challenge. Alex Bachman, Colin Johnson, Philip Dorsett, and Marquez Callaway are all in the mix, fighting to carve out roles, whether on the main roster or in practice squad positions. One name that stands out for Raiders fans rooting for an underdog is Cedric Jackson. He's leading the preseason in receiving yards, and though he may not make the active roster, his performance has been impossible to ignore. Watching him catch everything thrown his way, demonstrating agility, timing, and ball security, shows why preseason is not just about the big names. It's about those hungry players trying to prove themselves and earn every snap. Looking at the secondary, particularly the cornerbacks, this is where the Raiders need to show they can compete at a high level. Coverage skills, positioning, and the ability to react under pressure are all critical. Fans are watching closely to see if the defensive backs can lock down routes, stay disciplined in zone coverage, and make plays when they're challenged deep. This is where the team's ability to balance aggression with smart decision-making comes into play. Linebackers also have to step up, not just in stopping the run, but in dropping into coverage, showing that they can adapt to the speed and complexity of modern NFL offenses. It's a test of versatility, awareness, and pure athleticism. Players like Jamal Adams and Devin White are physical and explosive, but every linebacker has to demonstrate that they can cover, read plays quickly, and communicate effectively with teammates to prevent big gains. Tight ends are another position to keep an eye on, especially the battle for the third-string role. Brock Bowers has proven his elite talent, and Michael Mayer has shown flashes, but it's the tight end three where the competition gets interesting. Ian Thomas has struggled, dropping passes and missing assignments, which could put his roster spot in jeopardy. Carter Runnan, an undrafted free agent, has impressed with his ability to get open, track the ball, and make plays in critical situations. These behind-the-scenes battles often determine depth and flexibility for the offense, and it's fascinating to watch how coaches evaluate not just talent but reliability, adaptability, and football IQ. The offensive line is arguably the foundation of the team, and it's a mix of veterans and young players vying for consistency and chemistry. Watching players like JPJ and Alex Kappa at right guard, Dalton Wagner on the right side, and the rookies Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant adapt to the speed of the NFL is crucial. The line needs cohesion, communication, and trust because one breakdown can impact the quarterback, the running backs, and the overall rhythm of the offense. Continuity matters more than raw talent sometimes, and the Raiders have to balance competition with building a unit that can function under pressure. As we move deeper into the defensive side, the cornerback room is under the microscope, and this is where the Raiders really need to send a message. Coverage in the secondary isn't just about raw speed or athleticism. It's about anticipation, footwork, technique, and understanding offensive tendencies. If these corners can't stick with receivers, read the quarterback, and react instantaneously, then the pass rush won't matter. Every team has weapons, and against high-level quarterbacks, even a small lapse in coverage can result in a touchdown. This is where training camp and preseason reps really come into play, because the coaching staff wants to see who can handle the complexity of NFL routes while maintaining physicality and discipline. Young players, rookies, and even some undrafted free agents have a chance to shine here. Their ability to play off coverage, maintain leverage, and stick to their assignments in press and zone situations will dictate not only who makes the roster, but also who will be trusted in critical moments during the season. Linebackers, as we mentioned before, are also under a microscope for their coverage abilities. Players like Jamal Adams and Devin White are inherently explosive and can run sideline to sideline. But the true test is their ability to read plays in real time, anticipate the quarterback's intentions, and limit big gains. Tommy Eichenberg and Jalen Smith have shown flashes of potential, but consistency is key. If they can cover tight ends, running backs leaking out of the backfield, and slot receivers effectively, the Raiders can avoid over-reliance on their secondary and maintain balanced defensive schemes. Michael Barrett had a big play last week, showcasing awareness and closing speed, but every linebacker has to demonstrate a combination of instinct, agility, and intelligence to succeed at the NFL level. The preseason is as much mental as it is physical, and this group is learning to adjust to speed, complexity, and the sheer athleticism of NFL offenses. Defensive ends are another critical piece of the puzzle. Max Crosby remains a cornerstone, a relentless force on the edge who consistently pressures quarterbacks and disrupts the pocket. Watching him operate, it's clear why he's one of the most dangerous players on this roster. On the other side, players like Malcolm Koonce are returning from injury and have the weight of expectation on their shoulders. The hand usage is there, the technique is sound, but the first step is crucial. Can he explode off the line? Can he set the edge and collapse the pocket? Those questions remain, and the preseason provide the stage for answers. Tyree Wilson has shown glimpses of dominance, and if he continues to progress, he could be a game changer. For undrafted free agents like Josh Joyner and Andre Carter, every snap feels like a tryout for the future. These are the moments that define whether they earn a spot or fade into obscurity, and the intensity of each play mirrors the stakes. Defensive tackles must anchor the interior. Adam Butler brings experience and reliability, but the rookies, including Taka Hemingway and J.J. Pages, have to step up. The defensive tackle rotation is crucial, especially with the potential suspension of Charles Snowden looming. The team needs depth, flexibility, and players who can contribute in multiple scenarios. The ability to generate interior pressure, clog running lanes, and adapt to schemes is what separates average linemen from difference makers. Watching these players, it's about timing, strength, agility, and a relentless motor. John Liu and Zach Carter are part of this developmental narrative, where coaching staff evaluates not only athletic ability, but also mental processing, understanding gaps, and reacting instinctively under pressure. Every missed assignment can become a highlight for the opposition, so the stakes are high, even in preseason games. Special teams, while often overlooked, are no exception. Players fighting for roster spots have to contribute beyond their primary position. Field positioning, coverage units, and return abilities can determine the edge for a team trying to squeeze out maximum value from a 53-man roster. Preseason reps aren't just a test. They're an opportunity to showcase versatility. A player who can play a backup role on offense or defense and contribute on special teams becomes exponentially more valuable. Coaches notice consistency, effort, and football intelligence, and these factors can influence decisions far more than raw stats alone. Returning to the quarterback narrative, Aiden O'Connell's growth is the lens through which the team evaluates the offense. It's not just about avoiding interceptions. It's about processing reads quickly, maintaining composure under pressure, and executing Chip Kelly's complex schemes effectively. The pre-snap adjustments, audibles, and communication with receivers demonstrate not only skill, but leadership potential. Cam Miller's trajectory mirrors this story, pushing for opportunities and showing that he can thrive when the offense adapts to his strengths. Geno Smith's role, while limited, provides a benchmark for execution, allowing the coaching staff to see what polished looks like in contrast to developmental talent. The wide receivers continue to be a focus. Dante Thornton Jr. is being evaluated for his ability to stretch the field and connect with the quarterback on timing routes. Cedric Jackson has shown explosive ability in the preseason, leading the team in receiving yards, but the challenge is translating preseason dominance into a role that fits the depth chart. Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, though talented, might see fewer snaps due to various factors, but their presence adds an element of experience that young receivers can learn from. Slot receivers like Alex Bachman, Colin Johnson, and Philip Dorsett are constantly tested in coverage, route running, and the ability to create separation in tight windows. For these players, every rep is a chance to prove reliability, agility, and football IQ, and every small detail can influence roster decisions. As the games unfold, every position tells a story. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, secondary players, and special teams all have to perform, adapt, and demonstrate reliability. Each play is a measure of potential, effort, and readiness for the regular season. The Raiders are testing talent, measuring resilience, and observing who can execute under pressure, and the complexity of these battles makes preseason fascinating for fans and vital for the team's development. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling around the NFL universe as speculation heats up over a potential seismic shift in the Raiders' defensive line. The latest buzz centers on Nick BOSA, one of the most feared edge rushers in the league, and Lane Johnson, a veteran offensive tackle whose presence on the line has consistently reshaped defensive strategies. Imagine the drama if these two titans were to converge in Las Vegas, creating a narrative so irresistible that sports bars and online forums are already ablaze with debates, mock drafts, and conspiracy-laden insider tips. Sources close to training camps have hinted at early talks, although nothing has been confirmed officially, which only fans' imaginations ignite further. BOSA's ability to collapse pockets with near-apocalyptic speed, combined with Johnson's skill in protecting quarterbacks and anchoring run schemes, could turn the Raiders into a franchise that inspires both awe and fear across the AFC. The juxtaposition of BOSA's relentless, youthful energy against Johnson's polished, methodical dominance in pass protection adds a layer of intrigue that's almost cinematic. Social media has exploded with fan reactions, some skeptical, others elated, as hashtags trend and fantasy football analysts debate the ripple effects for the upcoming season. Rumors have a way of taking lives of their own in the NFL ecosystem, and this one is no exception, already spawning endless tactical theories, mock-up jerseys, and predictions about defensive schemes, which range from revolutionary to downright terrifying for opposing offenses. The conversation in Vegas circles has shifted from tentative speculation to almost palpable anticipation as insiders discuss the mechanics of how BOSA and Johnson might complement each other on the Raiders roster. Sources who have traditionally remained tight-lipped have started dropping cryptic comments, fueling a growing sense of inevitability, whether real or imagined, among the fan base. Imagine the psychological impact on opponents who must prepare for a team boasting BOSA's uncanny ability to disrupt quarterbacks, paired with Johnson's almost surgical precision in sealing off lanes and protecting the quarterback's blind side. The combination evokes visions of a fortress, a defensive and offensive synergy so potent that game scripts could be rewritten before the first whistle. Analysts have started mapping out potential matchups, drawing diagrams of how BOSA's pressure could be funneled into lanes Johnson fortifies, turning conventional defensive strategies on their head. Forums have exploded with theories, from coaching adjustments to trade speculation, imagining a world where the Raiders could dominate not just the AFC West but the entire league. Fan-made graphics of the duo in silver and black helmets circulate online, each iteration more dramatic than the last, while podcasts dedicate hours to dissecting every subtle rumor surrounding contract clauses, potential cap space maneuvers, and coaching strategies. The city of Las Vegas itself seems to be holding its breath, caught in a collective anticipation that might transform the local sports culture into a fever pitch if even a fraction of these speculations prove accurate. Behind the scenes, whispers about potential locker room chemistry are as intense as the on-field speculation, with insiders suggesting that BOSA and Johnson could bring complementary leadership styles that redefine team dynamics. BOSA, known for his fiery intensity and laser-focused approach to game-day execution, contrasts with Johnson's seasoned, steady influence in guiding younger teammates through complex schemes. Imagining these two personalities melding into a cohesive force sparks narratives that extend beyond the statistics into a more human dimension: locker room strategy, mentorship, and morale. Rumors suggest that coaches are already considering unique rotational plans, staggering snap counts to maximize BOSA's explosiveness, while leveraging Johnson's durability to anchor offensive line stability, creating a chessboard-like approach to play calling that could bewilder opposing coordinators. Fan speculation extends into hypothetical matchups against perennial rivals, with Twitter threads detailing imagined clashes with elite quarterbacks and defensive ends, charting the potential highlight reels that would instantly define the NFL season. The allure isn't limited to football analysts. Marketing teams, merchandise designers, and local media are all reportedly circling the possibility, trying to craft narratives that harness the public's feverish excitement. Imagine headlines about monumental sacks, game-saving blocks, and unstoppable drives circulate on blogs and forums, further blurring the line between speculation and reality. The cultural impact could be enormous, potentially elevating the Raiders' brand beyond regional loyalty to national fascination, making every rumor a subject of intense debate, personal investment, and fantasy football scheming. Even the betting world has taken notice, with sportsbooks quietly adjusting projections and speculating odds, as if the mere possibility of BOSA and Johnson joining forces could tilt the balance of the league. Sports analysts talk of a ripple effect, considering not just the Raiders' offensive and defensive calculations, but the domino impact on divisional rivalries, playoff strategies, and draft boards across the league. Every scenario is dissected. BOSA's ability to pressure opposing quarterbacks on 3rd and long, Johnson's capacity to protect and open gaps in the run game, and the imaginative synergy that emerges when such talents align. Rumors hint at subtle negotiations behind closed doors, from contract incentives to timing considerations, though official sources remain steadfastly silent, fueling more speculation. The online sports community has erupted in a mix of excitement, skepticism, and outright fan fiction, imagining highlight reels of bone-crunching sacks followed by improbable touchdown drives orchestrated behind Johnson's mastery. Discussions extend beyond the field, considering travel routines, practice regimens, and even lifestyle adaptations, as fans try to picture what daily life might be like with such a powerhouse tandem. Analysts whisper about possible coaching adjustments, playbook reworks, and strategic innovations, considering the new wall could redefine conventional wisdom across the league. Even casual observers are caught up, intrigued by the potential magnitude of such a pairing, making Las Vegas a focal point of football gossip that spans continents, time zones, and social platforms. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.